so are the faces of my people. The stars are beautiful, so are the eyes of my people. Beautiful also is the sun. Beautiful also are the souls of my people. To fling my arms wide in some place of the sun, to whirl and to dance till the white day is done, then rest at cool evening beneath a tall, slim tree, while night comes on gently dark like me. That is my dream. Langston Hughes. That's Langston Hughes. My wife, Alta, and I have given so many wonderful parties here in our apartment at 409 Edgecombe. We're high atop a hill on 155th Street overlooking all of Harlem. Our building is often referred to as Harlem's White House. Alta and I love to entertain, but I especially enjoy being in the company of Negro writers. Vibrant individuals who can put our race's highest ideals into words. It is our hope that our art, our poetry, our music transcend the barriers of race and culture. That is why I have invited your particular ensemble. And your music is just perfect for this evening's occasion. Oh, we used to have such passionate arguments about the Negro plight up and down these halls. Now, we're so distant. They dubbed me the father of black art. Oh, and who am I? Aaron Douglas. Peering out the window, looking at you people on the streets of Harlem. Those living here, those just passing through. I wonder how many of you out there heard of this thing called the Harlem Renaissance. You, the little boy with the runny nose, rushing home, struggling with shopping bags full of collard greens and sweet potatoes and that good old-fashioned cornmeal for your grandmother, who's been cleaning some white folks' apartment downtown all day to make her hot water cornbread with for her own daughter's children, whom she's now raising. Oh, yes. Look. You see those kids over on the stoop there? Oh, clapping and rocking back and forth while that teenage girl is just belting out a soulful tune, blending with the street sounds of Harlem. She's hoping she, like Bessie Smith, will become the next great blues singer. Oh, Langston, you immortalized them all, and they probably don't even know your name. And I know they've never heard of me. Aaron Douglas. I'm just a baker's son, born at the turn of the century from a small Midwestern town, Topeka, Kansas. My earliest memories were watching my mother draw still life. Her shades and her colors, oh, they were so beautiful to me. And one day, my mother came home with a magazine containing a reproduction of the painting of Christ and Nicodemus meeting in the moonlight. And it was a Christ that looked like me. Oh, I remember this painting very well. It was by the famous Negro artist, Henry O. Tanner, who I later met in Paris. I spent hours poring over it, and I knew what I wanted to be. But how could I ever hope to become an artist? We were only expected to be maids and servants, porters. It's a miracle I ever made it here. Duke Ellington, when he first arrived, said, oh, Harlem was like the Arabian Nights. You see, we all heard a sound from across the country and answered. I thought Negro life in Harlem would be no different from Negro life anywhere else, until I moved here. And if my art gave birth to a new means of expression, it was because of observing you and them. Wait. Wait. Why am I standing here at this window saying all of this, blurting it out to passerbys who can't even hear the sound of my voice? Why? Because I fear what once was is now forgotten. And if they know us not, what purpose do we serve? This past December, 1934, I lost two good friends, both within the same week. Wallace Thurman and Rudolph Fisher. Oh, Wallace, so brilliant, so controversial. Wallace, some say you killed the Harlem Renaissance, killed it with your satiric novel, Infants of the Spring. Oh, and Rudolph Fisher with his witty and salty tongue, so young, a doctor, an X-ray specialist, and a wonderful writer in his own right. The funeral seemed to eulogize not only Wallace and Rudolph, but our Renaissance as well. So after attending Rudolph's funeral, I decided to bring in the new year with this memorial dinner held in their honor. I walked home alone after the service, passed through the streets of Harlem, stopped off at a flower shop on 116th and Lenox Avenue, ordered 1 dozen roses, sent out dinner invitations to 9 writers of our Renaissance, and tonight I have dedicated a rose to each of them. James Weldon Johnson. Zora Neale Hurston. Alain Locke. Gwendolyn Bennett. Jessie Fawcett. Jean Toomer. The late Wallace Thurman and the late Rudolph Fisher. Now my special 3. Countee Cullen, Langston Hughes, Claude McKay, his old cantankerous self, and, I suppose this one's for me, Aaron Douglas. There was a time I would throw a party and folks were here a half hour before time. Celebrate. Claude McKay, now, haven't you made up your mind? not to go to the party. So why are you vacillating back and forth? You want to go, don't you? You're curious as to who will attend, how you will be received after all these years. Human nature is so inquisitive, so baffling. Dear Aaron, I regret to inform you I will not attend the memorial dinner party. Please accept my most humble apologies. A letter would take 2 or more days to arrive, but I just don't want to call. Dear Aaron, I would prefer to honor their memory privately. I doubt I would be much company anyway. Besides, I need to finish packing. I may need to take a room at a boarding house somewhere, given my present financial situation. No one, absolutely no one need know my circumstance. If I have only one crust of bread to eat, so be it. Call it my West Indian pride. I will not go begging. And besides, there can be nothing more treacherous than walking into a den of your fellow artists and you become the prey. The prey. No, man, I don't play this game well. This scrambling for approval. I was never their favorite son, like a County or even Langston. They, Dubois and Locke. Dr. Dubois, founder of the NAACP, encouraged all of us young artists to move to Harlem. And let us not forget the brilliant scholar, writer, philosopher Alain Locke, mentor to us all. When they called me the voice of a generation, I don't know what they expected. Some subservient young thing, eh? Ever grateful, kowtowing to their magnificence. Well, frankly, I am tired of being considered cantankerous and disruptive. I am not angry, but a warrior for justice. My words, my pen are my weapons. Dub me not cowardly if I find no sudden way to throttle you or clip your claws. Though my feet are on the ground, doubt not my eyes are on a star. Packing, unpacking, and packing again. For the last 12 years of my life, I have been packing to unpacking, sorting to unsort. A seemingly never-ending journey. But someone has to remain vigilant, like Odysseus. Fight demons of this world, racism and bigotry. And if it has to be me, so be it. I was the first great light, the beacon of the Harlem Renaissance. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and pinned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mark at our accursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. Oh, kinsman, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave. and their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies an open grave? Like men, we'll face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. I wrote If We Must Die in 1919, during the time of the Chicago race riots. I was a train waiter on the Pennsylvania Railroad. We waiters and cooks would have to carry guns in secret and always travel together whenever going from quarters to railroad yard as a precaution against sudden attack. This one little poem created so much controversy. Some say it initiated the Renaissance. Some say I left, just ran away, right when my career was at its peak. I wanted to travel. It was that simple. I have just returned from a 12-year study abroad. Spain, Russia, North Africa. In 1922, I was even invited to Moscow to address the Fourth Communist Party Congress. Lenin welcomed me as a patriot with open arms. It was no secret. I sympathized with their cause. We all did, Langston and County and Aaron alike, even if just briefly. When I read my poem in Red Square, St. Petrograd, oh, the crowd cheered and cried. I felt almost as much at home as I did those first few years in Harlem. I've been a train waiter, a vagabond, constable, a farmer, porter. I know the sounds of the people. My people in Jamaica and the everyday man on the streets of New York City. That's what I write about. And that's what I wrote about in my novel, Home to Harlem. Their street life, the lives I saw. I could not just look at one side of it, the clean side. No, I am an artist, not a propagandist. So misunderstood I often am, eh? At least I have finally begun work on my autobiography. I have no idea when it will be ready. I have decided to call it A Long Way From Home. Catchy title, eh? Home. Bananas ripe and green, and ginger root, cocoa pods and alligator pears, and tangerines and mangoes and grapefruit, fit for the highest prize in parish fairs. My eyes grew dim, I could no longer gaze. A wave of longing through my body swept, and hungry for the old, familiar ways, I turned aside and bowed my head and wept. There were 11 of us in my family in Jamaica. My father would tell us stories under the mango tree about the Ashanti people of West Africa, my ancestors, and about the pride of his father, an ex-slave. My favorite brother, Uriah, an elementary school teacher in Kingston, would sit me down in his library, and we would read and discuss and read some more. He encouraged me to have free thinking, made me think how a word can equal a thought, a thought, an idea, an action, and how an action could change the world. How could I become anything other than a poet? I was caught by language. The dawn departs. The morning has begun. The trades come whispering off the seas. Fields of corn are golden in the sun, their dark brown tassels fluttering in the breeze. The bell is sounding, and the children pass. Langston was in Jamaica. He wrote me. He met my daughter. I have a daughter, Hope. I have never seen hope. Over the earth, where mortals sow and reap, beneath its breast, my mother lies asleep. When all is said and done, when all thoughts and barriers are neatly sorted out and packed away, what remains is soul. And my soul is entwined in the spirit of the words that have passed through me. I live because an ember in me smolders to regain its fire. Because what is and what has been have not yet conquered my desire. So, should I pack away the years? Yes. Yes. Stay home, Claude, and finish your packing. Daydream, right? Billy Strayhorn composed that tune. Right here, in this very building, in an apartment he shared with the maestro himself, Duke Ellington. I would often go down to the Savoy Ballroom, listen to their big band arrangements, and just sit for hours, watching my people dance and sway. The blurred vision of their movement became my inspiration. The African simplicity of form and figure, combined with Harlem pizzazz, became my style. Bet you didn't know old Aaron could carry a tune, did you? Still don't. Negrotarians. Have you ever heard of the Negrotarians? Oh, that's what Zora used to call them. They would criticize me for drawing strange black fantasies. But I hear the halting footsteps of a lass in Negro Harlem when the night lets fall its veil. I see the shapes of girls who pass to bend and barter at desire's call. Little girls who in slippered feet go prowling through the night from street to street, through the long night until the silver break of day. The little gray feet know no rest. stern, harsh world that in that wretched way of poverty, dishonor, and disgrace have pushed the little timid feet of clay, the sacred brown feet of my fallen race. Oh, heart of men, the weary, weary feet in Harlem wandering from street to street. Harlem Shadows by my good friend, Claude McKay. I saw you looking at one of my paintings earlier. I had two great mentors. Dr. Charles S. Johnson, editor of Opportunity magazine, who introduced me to my second mentor, the extraordinary Bavarian painter, Weinhold Rice. Weinhold encouraged me to express racial commitment in my art, to look into my heritage and explore different African designs and motifs. I was searching. I wanted to know what Weinhold meant when he said, "Look into my past for the key to my voice." What is Africa to me? Copper sun or scarlet sea? Jungle star or jungle track? Strong bronzed men or regal black women from whose loins I sprang when the birds of Eden sang? 3 centuries removed from the scenes his father loved. Spicy grove, cinnamon tree. What is Africa to me? County Cullen. County? Well, he should be here by now. He's right down the block at his father's church, the Reverend Cullen, the Salem Methodist Episcopalian Church. He's the keynote speaker for the National Urban League. Well, folks are over an hour late. Maybe I should call. Taxi! 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 Dear County, come celebrate the memory of Wallace Thurman and Rudolph Fisher and all of our lives in Harlem. Aaron. How can I celebrate something I'm not even sure existed? Whew, it is freezing out here. Colder than a witch's tit. I knew I should have worn my boots. Taxi! Some are teethed on a silver spoon with stars strung for a rattle. I cut my teeth as the black raccoon on implements of battle. Some are swaddled in silken down and heralded by a star. Well, they swathed my limbs in a sackcloth gown on a night that was black as tar. Now for some, Godfather and Goddame the opulent fairies be. Dame Poverty gave me my name, and Pain God fathered me. For I was born on Saturday, bad time for planting seed, was all my father had to say, and one more mouth to feed. Ah, yes, Papa Cullen on one side, and the whole earthy, bluesy, jazzy world of Harlem on the other. Mama's church choir mixes in with the sounds from the blues joints around the corner, a whole world of contrast. Jemima on billboards and gold dust twins in magazines, Step and Fetch It on the movie screens, scornful silence in the history books. These are the days I feel poetry more and express it less. I need a drink. The Ubangi Club. No. Small's Paradise? No. The Red Baron? No. I think I know where. Excellent, effective stimulant for a rather depressed young man. Poor Wallace. He arrived here in Harlem in 1925 with nothing but nerve. He was so intent on causing a stir, rabble-rousing. He convinced us young artists to publish our own magazine, Fire. But when Fire was published, you would have thought a bomb had been dropped. Whew, Dr. Du Bois was irate. He called it unalloyed decadence. Even Aaron's artwork on the cover was trash to him. The man we worked so hard to please, to satisfy, to impress. Eventually, he forgave me. Well, I could do no wrong in his eyes. I was his dream, his hope. We were Dr. Du Bois' talented 10th, his Renaissance makers. Poor Wallace. Poor Yolande. Our wedding was like a fairy tale. The marriage of me, County Cullen, Crown Prince of Harlem, into the kingdom of the great W.E.B. Du Bois, the creme de la creme. 16 bridesmaids and grooms, at least 1,000 guests, and 100 white doves perched, set to fly on cue in one of the most elaborate wedding ceremonies you ever wanted to see up here. Well, I suppose I should have known that when those doves didn't take flight, this marriage wasn't going to fly either. And shortly after the wedding, when I went to Paris with my best friend, Harold Jackman, she never understood. Whenever Dr. Du Bois speaks about the marriage, he never mentions his own daughter's name. Yolande. Poor Yolande. It was prohibition, and given our proclivities, we would party all night long. Get up late the next morning, just to start our work all over again, between teaching each other the latest dance moves, like the bow hog, the monkey hunch, and the Charleston. Sometimes we'd stroll on over to Carl Van Vechten's White Society's Unofficial Guide to Harlem, and he would be standing there dressed in a bright Chinese jacket with sky blue pants, especially chosen to match his eyes. And the sight of that white man dancing all night long in those clubs, in that outfit, was the silliest thing I could ever seen. We would buy refreshments. Gin, rye, scotch, whatever was available that week, same difference. It was all from the same bathtub anyway. Now, the country has fallen into a depression. And suddenly, white society has bigger concerns than what's going on at night up in Harlem. What? Well, yes, today I teach French and English at the Frederick Douglass Junior High School. And all I seem to be able to write anymore is poetry about Christopher Cat. Poems for children. George Bernard Shaw once met Claude McKay and asked him why he didn't consider pugilism as a profession instead of poetry. Pugilism? Boxing? I doubt not God is good, well-meaning and kind, and did he stop to quibble, could tell me why the little buried mole continues blind, why flesh that mirrors him must someday die. Make plain the reason tortured Tantalus is baited by the fickle fruit. Declare if merely brute caprice dooms Sisyphus to struggle up a never-ending stair. Inscrutable his ways are, and immune to catechism by a mind too strewn with petty cares to slightly understand what awful brain compels his awful hand. Yet do I marvel at this curious thing, to make a poet black and bid him sing, and bid him sing. Now that I have vented my spleen, you must have a look at this. The Oxford Don sipping his tea. County Cullen's use of classical form simply reveals he wants to be a white poet. A white poet. Well, I have never been a black poet nor a white poet. I have never been a Negro poet. I am a poet who happens to be a Negro. I'm an artist. Pure and simple. Whatever race I belong to is secondary. Wallace always hated when I went off like that. Said I had one hand on the Bible, one hand on Keats, and an eye towards African fables, desperately looking for some usable myth or image. Well, he would rather present us with all of our flaws showing. And let me tell you, it is all too sordid for me. I was the rising star. No one was more productive than I. Phi Beta Kappa. Master's degree from Harvard, the Opportunity Prize, the John Reed Memorial Prize, the Winter Bitter Poetry Contest, a Guggenheim Award. Every ounce of my being devoted to the arts. Now, because I voice this mild complaint, don't think I'm mad, because I ain't. But damn it, I am hurt. Oh, Shelley and Keats, Millay and Donne. You are the masters. The masters. Oh, beauty and truth comes in all colors. Why must I be expected to bear my innermost secrets to the world? Why? God's alabaster turrets gleam too high for me to win unless he turns his head and lets me bring my own gods in. Aaron. Oh, Aaron. How can I celebrate? It is beautiful out here in this old cemetery. James Langston Hughes. Rest in peace. Died 1934. I need to reintroduce myself to you, Father. I know no better way than through my work. I'm James Mercer Langston Hughes. I've long since dropped the James Mercer, but that's neither here nor there. Where do I start? Where do I begin? This is a song for a genius child. Sing it softly, for the song is wild. Sing it softly as you ever can, lest the song get out of hand. Nobody loves a genius child. Can you love an eagle tame or wild? Wild or tame, can you love a monster of frightening name? Nobody loves a genius child. Kill him and let his soul run wild. We never knew each other. You moved here to Mexico when you were denied the bar because of your race. You tried to distance yourself from yourself, even going to the point of changing your appearance to look more like a Mexican. But I am a Negro. Black as the night is black. Black like the depths of my Africa. It's funny being out here in this old cemetery. I'm supposed to be at Aaron's up in Harlem at a memorial dinner. But after your care, there was 8,000 pesos and a little under $2,000 in your estate, which I had to divide between the 3 nuns who took care of you. I wasn't even mentioned in the will. But I've been stranded before. Never forget. Grandma used to say, never forget you have a legacy to uphold. Oh, she would wrap me up in that bloodied shawl she wore for 50 years. 50 years after the death of her husband, my grandfather, Louis Leary, killed along with John Brown at Harper's Ferry. Hug, kiss, nurturing lullaby. People often stare when they see me sitting in the children's section of the library. Sometimes just reading. Other times reciting my poetry to those young souls like mother to son. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. What's had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up bare. But all the time, I's been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you look back. Well, don't you set down on those steps because you find it kind of hard. Don't you fall now. For I's still going, honey. I's still climbing. on life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Wallace died December 22nd. Rudolph, December 26th. Oh, dear, lovely death, that taketh all things under wing, never to kill, only to change into some other thing. This suffering flesh, to make it either more or less, yet not again the same. Dear lovely death, change is thy name. Study engineering. Something that will make you some money, Langston. That's what you said. Well, what do you want to do? Live like a nigger the rest of your life? Look at your mother. She wanted to be an actress. Be an actress. Where did that get her? Oh, she's draining you dry, boy. Living in your shadow, financially dependent upon you. Her famous poet son. Father, you never believed in me. Claude once asked me, what is poetry? And I answered, it is the human soul entire, squeezed like a lemon lime, drop by drop into atomic words. A poet is a human being, and each human being must live with and for his people, within his own time, and within the boundaries of his own country. Hang yourself poet in your own words. Otherwise, you are dead. The Harlem Renaissance. Was it all just self-gratifying deception? Or wasn't a day that went by when at least one of us wasn't in the news? And after that big mess with Zora over our play, Mulebone, my relationship with Elaine and Wallace began to sour. Charlotte Osgood Mason, woman I called my godmother, supported me financially, emotionally for a time, got all mixed up in it. My socialist poems began to draw nothing but silence from her. Her embrace began to feel like a weight around my neck. My patron goddess turned into a demon. So, I wrote. Poet to patron. What right has anyone to say that I must throw out pieces of my heart for pay? For bread that helps to make my heart beat true, I must sell myself to you? Oh, a factory shifts better. A week's meager pay than some perfumed note asking, oh, what poems today? I thank God for Mary McLeod Bethune. She's the one who encouraged me to tour the South with my poetry. And Father, I have now become poet laureate of my people. Oh, people of all races and backgrounds, read and appreciate my work. Your son has traveled all over the world, indeed. Oh, I've known rivers, ancient dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I've bathed in the Euphrates when the dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo till it lulled me to sleep. Oh, you will die broke. You will die broke. Father, your words still haunt me. But where others choose to steep their verse in lofty European traditions, I chose the rhythm of the street. I can take the Harlem night and wrap around you. Take the neon lights and make you a crown. Take the Lenox Avenue buses and taxis and subways and for your love song tone their rumble down. Take Harlem's heartbeat and make a drum beat. We are the constant creators of style in this country. Oh, if white folks like Fred Astaire and Carl Van Vechten can run on up to Harlem and study and steal our dances and steal our lingo, why couldn't I, being a Negro, celebrate us? They've taken my blues and gone. Oh, they sing them on Broadway. They sing them at the Hollywood Bowl and mix them up in the symphony so they sound like me. Yep, they've taken my blues and gone, but someday, somebody's going to stand up and write about me, and sing about me, and put on plays about me. I reckon it will be me. Yes, it will be me, so I wrote. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up and fester like a sore that runs? Or maybe it sags like a heavy load? I wrote Dance African. I wrote Shakespeare in Harlem. I wrote Mailbox for the Dead. I wrote The Weary Blues. I wrote Let America Be America Again. Oh, it is beautiful out here in this old cemetery. Rest, Father. Rest. Our mission was to conceive and develop, establish an era, bare our arms and plunge them deep through laughter, through pain, through sorrow, through hope, through disappointment, into the very depths of our people and drag forth material rough, crude, neglected. Sing it, dance it, write it, paint it. I guess I live because, like my good friend Claude always says, an ember in me smolders to regain its fire. Because what is and what has been have not yet conquered my desire. Well, gentlemen, it seems I've thrown a party and nobody came. This evening is at an end. Maybe, just maybe, I needed to have this party for myself.